Hi, today we're going to talk about some good stuff, and I hope you are excited. I'm going to be sharing with you some information that's going to help you to clean out your kitchen, get all that old stuff out, and bring in the really good, healthy stuff for you and for your family, or maybe for some different dinners you make if you like to have people over. Lots of different reasons, right? Okay, so what I'm going to share in this first video today is talking about different food items that you can be bringing in as far as our proteins, carbohydrates, healthy fats, good veggies, and good fruits. Also, the condiments. I get asked that question a lot in regards to what are some condiments that I can have and how can I flavor up my food? Okay. Also, I want to talk about what are some of the things that we can avoid. It's not about eliminating everything, it's not about not ever having something. It's more about thinking that when we're bringing more of those good, healthy foods in that are going to feed us and give us the nutrition that we need, we're really going to want the other things less, right? So it's what we call crowding out. We are having more water, which can lead to drinking less soda or alcohol. We are eating more healthy greens, which is going to help us to stop eating more of the processed foods. So things like that is what I want you to think about. And then we are going to talk about a couple of different things in regards to what kitchen tools you can use. So for those of you that are looking at, what are maybe the better pots for me to use? What about different utensils? I want to give you some tips on that as well. So let's first go down the list of talking about fruits. I personally don't eat a lot of fruit. I do like certain ones for sure, and I also can digest certain fruits better than others. And I think that there's some top choices depending on what flavors you like as well. So I like to give you a little bit of a variety of fruits that you can choose from. Things like apples, also berries, lemons or limes, and sometimes you can even use the lemons and limes as like the condiment for like making salad dressings and things like that. That's very helpful. Also pears are really good, red grapes, and bananas. So for me, I really don't have a lot of bananas, and I prefer to eat a banana by itself if I'm going to, whereas I know a lot of other people like to use bananas and add them into their protein shakes and stuff like that. I tend to like more of the pears, apples, and berries personally for me. That works better for me. Being a lower sugar fruit. So that's one thing that I like. And I do like to do the lemons. I add a lot of the lemon water into my day. I really like to do that. So also there are the fat, the healthy fat, which comes from avocado. So avocado is something that I add into my daily meal plan as well. Really good to get the healthy fat from the avocados. Okay, so when we're looking at veggies, sometimes veggies are not necessarily the favorite for everybody, right? And those of us that have kids, sometimes we feel like we're trying to find different ways for our kids to eat vegetables. So what I want you to think about with veggies is some of these choices. We have asparagus, beets, bell peppers, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, celery, cucumbers, garlic, green beans, kale, mushrooms, onions, salad greens. I know I like a nice blended spring green mix. Let's see, spinach by itself. There's also a couple other things we want to look at, like sweet potatoes, tomatoes, zucchini, where I can count those as more of a carbohydrate. Because our fruits and veggies are carbohydrates, there's differences between them with our choices and what we're putting into our meal plan. So let's look at a couple of specific things as far as that goes, because you will have, when you're taking notes and you're looking at a shopping list, this that I'm talking about today are things that you're putting on a grocery list. It's basic ideas of foods that you can buy, that you can have on hand. Because when your pantry, your fridge, and your cabinets are full of these items, you're less likely to order out, you're less likely to grab other items. Okay. All right. So next I want to talk about the herbs and spices. I love herbs and spices. I really like to experiment with these and, try a little sprinkle of this, try a little sprinkle of that, and see how it flavors up the food and some different things that you can get. And you can really keep your cooking very simple and just put these spices in, on the side or on a lazy Susan, so that way the people that are eating with you can look at the food that you made on a more simple approach and then add the flavors that they like to the food. So a lot of times for me, being a mom, I have found I experiment with food differently, and I can find one way where my kids really love it, and another time they're like, oh, it's too much spice, Mom. And I'm like, okay, let's keep this a little simpler, and then you guys can add more of what you like in. So it helps to understand that one person's way is not another person's way, and that's what I hope you can come away with learning in this group as well. Okay, so herbs and spices, things like basil and cilantro and parsley, thyme, sea salt, cinnamon. I love these things. Stevia, nutmeg, vanilla. I also really love turmeric. It's a great way to reduce inflammation. You can add that on your eggs. You can add that on your rice, your poultry, different things that you're making. You can add that right in. Just like the cinnamon, you can sprinkle that on a sweet potato. You can sprinkle that over oatmeal. You can add it into a shake. You can add it over so many different things. Let's talk about breads and wraps for a second. Some choices that you would want to look at are, and here's where you have to think, am I gluten-free or not, right? Because there are whole grains breads that are out there that, as long as they're organic or non-GMO, so the grain is a non-GMO, you might do really well with this. I would prefer to recommend going with things like Ezekiel or sprouted grains if and when you do choose to have a bread. It is better, and you are going to digest that easier as well. And you can look for even tortillas and wraps as well that are from the sprouted grains versus the flour. And you can look for gluten-free as well, in like more so made out of rice wraps, or also non-GMO corn wraps. My kids like the non-GMO corn soft shells and also the hard shells, especially when we're making tacos and things like that. So that is going to give you the option as far as breads and wraps for you to think about if you're sticking with gluten-free or if you are allowing in the grains. So remember, even though a grain is sprouted, it still is going to have gluten in there. That was one thing that I experimented for a while. When I first was going gluten-free, I was thinking, oh, well, I'm at least having the sprouted grain, and it still wasn't good. So even though it was better, and if I ever do now have something, I choose gluten-free because there's enough of those breads that are out there. I just make sure, again, it is a non-GMO, and often enough I will make something personally myself, because when we're looking at trying to heal our gut, or different issues like thyroid, we have to be aware of the different flours that might be in a gluten-free product. Just because it's a gluten-free product does not necessarily mean that it's better for us. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so let's move along. Beverages, black organic coffee and organic teas or herbal teas are good as well. If you're avoiding caffeine, you can do the decaffeinated. And let's talk about meat, poultry, and fish. So if you eat meat, you can do organic grass-fed beef and bison. You can do bison tenderloin or lean ground organic grass-fed bison or beef, lean ground organic chicken, organic chicken breasts or whole chicken with the skin off, or you can buy it with the skin and take the skin off, lean ground organic turkey and turkey breasts, wild salmon, wild white fish like cod. There are some meat alternatives that are out there. If you don't eat meat, you want to think about black beans, chickpeas, eggs that are free range and organic, kidney beans. There's different things when you're looking at tofu and different types of soy. Make sure if you are going to eat things like that, that it is organic. Soy is the top genetically modified food. It's in everything, so that's one thing to watch. Let's talk about dairy and alternatives. So you can use butter. You can. You just want to make sure that it's unsalted butter, and you can also, grass-fed, real unsalted grass-fed butter. You can do a vegan butter for those that have the dairy issues like we do in my family. Make sure it's non-GMO. You can also do kefir. You can do plain organic Greek yogurt, organic skim milk, almond, rice, flax, coconut milk, again, if you're avoiding dairy or not, right? So if you're not avoiding dairy, make sure it's organic. That would be the top tip for you there. Okay, so let's go on. You have seeds and oils, avocado oil, extra virgin organic coconut oil, extra virgin organic olive, flaxseed, unsalted sunflower seeds, sunflower butter. Especially if you have a nut allergy, you can go for sunflower butter. Nuts, you can do unsalted raw almonds, cashews, walnuts, almond, peanut butter, organic, raw, or no added oils to it. Personally, for those of us with different things like the thyroid, we're actually better off, and different digestive issues, we're better off with roasted nuts, roasted almond butter versus the raw. So there's great benefits with raw foods, but again, sometimes we have to come in and think, is it the right thing for me personally? If I have an issue, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, or IBD, irritable bowel disease like Crohn's and colitis, and any digestive issues, things that are going on, conditions with the body, and the thyroid, our symptoms show up with different things because one system isn't working. The whole body, the whole system needs to heal and to function better, and it really starts with our food. Okay, so let's go on. Dry or grains, even gluten-free. So baking powder, baking soda, brown rice, quinoa, whole grain or rice pastas, coconut flour, whole grain flour, like the spelt one. So again, are you going gluten-free or not, right? Looking at your choices with what you're doing. Some canned goods or in the pouches, just make sure it's BPA free. So this can be black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, organic tomatoes, pastes, tuna or salmon that's wild and in the water. Okay, and then our condiments, things like honey, organic, make sure it's raw organic honey, mustard. You can do salsas. Try to get the fresh salsas, and also make sure your salsa doesn't have a ton of added sugar. Okay, tahini. You can use unsweetened applesauce. Extra things like Bragg's apple cider vinegar, balsamic vinegar, low sodium chicken or vegetable stock, protein powders, things like Shakeology, making sure whatever we're choosing has no artificial sugars and ingredients. So if you're choosing different protein powders and things like that, I would suggest making sure that it is nothing artificial. It is organic would be better. Sometimes things will not be labeled organic because of cost, but you usually will be able to tell based off of things like, for example, Shakeology, knowing where the ingredients come from, nothing artificial, nothing fake that's in there in the ingredients. And of course, that's not just a protein that is giving you a full meal. It's a healthy meal supplement. It's giving your body the nutrition that it needs versus if I just take a protein powder, it's giving me some protein, but I'm missing a lot of other nutrients, okay? All right, so that is our first video on the things that we want to add in, and you can make the list from the video and you can put that together to help yourself with some great choices. I would love for you to comment below and let me know if you have any other questions in regards to this subject. And sometimes it's a particular food that maybe we're thinking about and we're just not sure. And most of the time you just want to make sure that it's a whole food from the ground grown. It's not processed, it's not packaged, and that will usually give you your yes or your no. All right, so thank you for being here. My name is Danny, and I am a fitness professional and a certified holistic health coach. I would love for you to follow me on Facebook if you're not already. You can find me there at facebook.com/Danielle R. Laux. Thanks, have a great day.